But I am excited to hear that you found a new space. Space is everything. I had to downsize my streaming setup. For the time being, we're getting ready to move ourselves. And it's, having that, you take for granted having like just your own personalized space for like what you do, right? Like I had a whole huge room for podcasting. Now I'm tucking like a little corner in the living room, and it's like, you miss it.
Yeah, my former office was not just the office. Obviously, it was fulfillment, storage, exercise room, and whatever else.
hmm
It was multi-purpose, and now it's just my office, the library, and this is where like the dog likes to be most of the time. So,
So I am good to go as long as you are.
yeah, sure.
We are green across the board. So let's begin in 3, 2, 1. Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic episode of Keeping It Geekly. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're hanging out with our returning guest, Madeleine Holly Rosing. We're here to break down Morgana, Pendragon, and everything in between. And I love the concept of the story. It looks awesome. Interiors are absolutely gorgeous. How have you been? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, yes, it has. And a lot has happened. I mean,
I
just
know.
work on your previous IP. We were talking backstage. I covered a piece for Comic Book Yeti with Lady Mechanica. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
And we're talking about the Kickstarter for this new series. I mean, you've been putting some work out.
Yeah, it's the starting with Lady Mechanica gig that actually started 2 years ago, and it took a while for the art to get done, and life happens.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, there, Marcia Chen, who is Joe's co-writer, and she handles so much for him, manager, for lack of a better word. Reached out to me and said, we're looking for writers to help us, so we can produce stuff faster. Would you be interested? And I said, yes. And so I said, let me pull together 3 pitches for you. And if you like them, great. And we talked. And during I would call it almost an interview, we realized the things that mattered in life were similar.
Yeah.
We were all on the same page in a lot of ways, so it was a good match. And so they said they liked all 3 pitches, but one in particular, which was originally called The Secret Garden and then changed to The Mechanical Menagerie, which is a great title. I like that even better. And so I wrote a 4-issue series for them, and part 3 and 4 just finished up on Kickstarter just a couple days ago. And it will be released through Image. Issue 1 drops in May.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
I'm pretty excited about that, and absolutely loved working with Marcia and Joe. They're absolutely fantastic, and it's a lot of fun working in what I call other people's sandbox.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on the script, but I have to deal with production. It's kind of like, here, now, now you go deal with it.
I mean, I seen the interiors, and it looks like it's right up your alleyway too. Like a perfect fit.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually had never read Lady Mechanica, and that's not a disrespect to Joe and Marcia. It's just early on in my career, I didn't want it to influence Boston Metaphysical Society, of which most people know me from. And then when I, got the job, I read everything, all the volumes they had, and realized that no, there was not any kind of this was not an issue for crossover. And so, yeah, it was a perfect fit. So, when Marcia would say like, okay, we need some technical dialogue here. And I'm going like, I got that.
Yeah, you came to the right person. And
You
speaking
came to
of
the right person here.
Boston Medical Physical Society, how has that series been for you as well?
Good. I think it's 12 years old now.
Yeah, really long run. And you had some awesome collectibles, if I remember the last campaign we went. Just some awesome collectibles for the Kickstarter. And to this day, I mean, this is interview 512. I don't think I've seen such detailed like collectibles and memorabilia for a series.
Yeah, it was fun. And we did, the first thing we started off with Boston Metaphysical were the lapel pins. And So the lapel pins are either the images either come from the series or are iconic steampunk images.
Yeah.
And because steampunk folks love to collect stuff like that. I mean, I know people, they have the whole set from stuff we don't even have anymore. Because I retire pins every time I
Yeah.
get a new pin now, I retire an old pin. So there's some people who have all of them. And then I have to give Mike Shea a nod over at Miskatonic High because I saw him post this really cool metal bookmark,
Hmm.
and I went like, Mike, where'd you get that? And he told me, and Alejandro Lee, who has designed a number of things for me between magnets and
Hmm.
bookmarks and whatnot. He designed the first metal bookmarks for Boston Metaphysical, and they're just gorgeous. Like the dirigible experimental station, kind of an Art Deco owl. That's all Alejandro, and the company that produces them is a U.S. company out of California, so that's kind of nice, and
Yeah.
that gets there direct, and there's no issues, overseas issues. But yeah, and they turn out beautifully. So it does take some work to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next cool thing that I can offer backers.
Yeah, that
So
has to be a pickle, right? Like you come up with something so cool and you're like, well, I want something as equally awesome as this.
yeah. So I mean, fortunately, I found that in Alden Kay, who's my interior artist for Morgana Pendragon. And the story behind that is a year or so ago, I was at Rose City Comic Con and I was chatting with David Walker, who's done a whole bunch of Bitterroot,
Hmm.
all sorts of stuff. And I told him, I said, hey, I have this new project coming up. I'm looking for an artist. And he said, hey, I just met a gentleman and he's really great. Can I have him come by your table? And I said, of course. So Alden came by the table and he says, oh, here's my portfolio. And I start looking at this. And you have to understand, I've looked at hundreds of portfolios to find what I was looking for
Hmm.
Morgana. And I'm looking at his stuff and I'm like, I found it.
That had to have been such an awesome feeling to finally found the one, like, and so randomly, right?
Yeah, it was completely random. And I said, you and I, we're going to talk. Here's my email. Let me get yours. I'll keep you updated. What's going on here? And I brought him on, and believe it or not, this is his first series.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because these interiors are absolutely stunning. That's wild. He's never done comic work before.
Oh, he has, but not a series.
Series? I gotcha.
Yeah, but not a series, because when I came to Rose City last September, I brought copies of issue 1 for him to sign and to give him one, of course.
Hmm.
And he says, "Oh, this is the first comic I've ever gotten to sign." I'm like going, "What?" So, for those who don't know, Alden was also the winner of the Mad Cave competition,
Oh wow.
and so he's immensely talented, and he's also working on the layouts for issue number 3 of Morgana right now. So it's all coming along. Warnia Sahadewa, get that right, is a colorist,
Okay.
and she's done a fantastic job. And Troy, of course, is our letterer because he's been with me forever, and I can't imagine life without Troy. It would be weird.
Yeah, we'll get a closer look at some of these interiors when we go through the campaign, but everything about this book just looks stunning. I really love the cover, cover A, and I think the variant where Morgana's like standing in like the forest.
Yeah, that's actually Darelai.
George. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
That's actually a different character because I introduced Darelai in issue 2, and she's just hinted at in issue 1.
I gotcha. All
Yeah.
right. So we're here to talk about issue 2, but let's start off with issue 1.
Okay.
So, we're talking about the story of Morgana Pendragon, having lost her magic when she fled England 20 years ago, leads a mercenary team, and then her brother, King Arthur, is dying. Very tense meeting. I love the concept of this. Give us some. Give us a little bit about the world of Morgana Pendragon. Like, what type of environment are we looking at with this story?
Um, just like I do with Boston Metaphysical, I like to ground my stories in reality.
Hmm.
So obviously, King Arthur, Morgana, they're fictional characters, but I've plopped them into, the fifth, sixth century and you know, what history has told us what that looks like.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, the same armament, what food was available, how armies functioned, the logistics behind them, the environment, and also the people. And one of the things I wanted to really pay attention to is often in popular media, you see Arthurian legends. It's nothing but white people.
Yeah.
And, that's casting, that's political. Uh, but that's not how the way the world worked. There was uh, the Silk Road where, people traveled. People
Hmm.
really did travel. And yeah, sure, you wouldn't get a lot of people from the Mid East or West Africa up into England and in the northern areas, but they did. But they did.
Yeah.
And so I wanted her team to represent the multiculturalism that actually existed during that time period. And and also even in the armament, you'll see a mix of styles. And that's because when you're a mercenary and you're moving around, if you're from Francia or you're from Britain or you're from Persia, but you're moving around, you're not going to necessarily stick with your standard cultural wear. You're going to stick
Hmm.
with what works for you.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a mix and match of different types of armament for how these particular mercenaries work and how they function, to the best of their ability. And there's also a hint of science in there, and which I don't get to dive into too much. And I
Hmm.
probably won't be able to until I start doing prequels to this particular story. But because Morgana no longer has her magic, you know, she has this, um, reputation of being this great sorceress. So what do you do when you don't have that anymore? Well, you use science.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. So how does magic work in this world? Is it like a traditional like magic system, or is it kind of, unique to this series?
This is what I is referred to as more of a low magic system, in that not many people have it,
Hmm.
and it's both internal and external, depending on the person and
I
how they
gotcha.
use it. I guess I don't want to get too much into it because it's a spoiler.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. We can back away from it. We can back away from it. So how much research went into this series? I mean, a lot, you were talking about keeping it pretty similar to the time and era. Did you have a lot of that information already stored within you, or was it something you had to kind of go out and study up on?
Um, I've always loved military historical fiction.
Hmm.
And if you've ever read any Stephen Pressfield, I highly recommend it, just because he does a tremendous amount of research that he puts into his fictional stories. And so I often use his as a guide for research. He does such a tremendous job. Uh, but uh, I actually have, excuse me, a master's degree in Arabic and the cultural history of the Arabs, and have done
Wow.
and have done papers. Yeah, that's my other life. I've had multiple lives.
I love how you just casually drop that too. You're like, no big deal.
But I mean, I once wrote a paper on, how the Mongols used Chinese siegecraft when they invaded Iran.
Hmm.
And so I could actually tell you how to take a medieval city.
That's
I
so
know how to
cool.
do that because I've read the primary sources when I was in school.
Listen, if you're not back in this, you better back it soon before your city gets taken over by some medieval siege weaponry.
Um, so it's been kind of a hobby of mine, but yes, I had to do some research. But those who are, hardcore Arthurian canon lovers,
Hmm.
I do kind of blow the hell out of that. So
I love
um,
that.
yeah,
So for
yeah,
everyone that is watching, here is a link to back the Kickstarter. If you're able to back, we would love to see that. Simply putting it on Facebook and Twitter. You know the usual. Share it if you can. Word of mouth is 100% free, and it helps tremendously get the story out there.
absolutely.
Congratulations on funding too, and killing it with this series. Um, so we talked a little bit about the environment, about the magical system. Morgana, who is this character? What does she look like within this story as the protagonist?
Well, she's 40 something, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this story is you see so few middle-aged women in comics or
Hmm.
anything else for that matter. And people tend to forget that middle-aged women have a lot of skill sets because they've lived a while.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to present a woman who has an agency, smart, intelligent, and is still dealing with rumors of past things that people get jealous, and it's a typical thing that people do when they're jealous is they say mean and nasty things about their opponent just to denigrate them.
Yeah.
And she is near she doesn't bother with this. It's meaningless to her. uh, but has a, she's pretty torn apart in some ways and guilt ridden because she did
Hmm.
leave her son behind, for his own safety. And part of this is her meeting Mordred for the first time in 20 years and how that plays out, and how her appearance, in England, after being at war with her brother plays out. And there's some people who support her and some people who don't,
Hmm.
some people who trust her, some people who don't. And even her own team is gets a little bent, some of the members, because she's withheld some critical information from them that she didn't think they needed to know. And so yeah, there's a lot of what you call political dynamics, both national and familial and everything in between.
So, what's it look like when you relied on magic as your main power, and all of a sudden you lose that? What sort of conflict does Morgana face, having had that happen?
Well, part of it is that some people don't realize that she doesn't have her magic anymore. It's something that's remained hidden, except
Okay.
from a trusted few. And so she kind of lives off of this mythology, and like I mentioned before, she lives off of the mythology, but instead of using magic, we'll use science, which
Science.
hopefully, like I said, we just barely touch on it a little
Hmm.
bit in this in this series, but hopefully I'll be able to dive into that more in future stories.
Well, speaking of diving in, let's go ahead and pull up the Kickstarter. We have some more interiors that we can take a look at, as well as some of the rewards. And everyone that is watching right here is a link to check out with us. So I am very excited. What inspired this series for you? Was it something that you kind of always had like tucked away, and then eventually got to work on, or was it something that came of creation just not too long ago?
Actually, many years ago, I had written a script called Morgana when I was at UCLA Film School, and it had some producers attached for a while, and then faded away, which normally happens. Um, but it always interested me doing something with Morgana, but that story, I wasn't that writer anymore and
Hmm.
that person. So I put that away because that story, she was, much younger. She was in her 20s. And I thought, wouldn't it be more interesting if she were older? Because we have no stories of Morgana when she's older. And so it's a wide open space. And this way, I can just dive into new territory.
So these
So
interior. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, so the covers for issue 2 are both of Darelai, who is our main antagonist.
So tell us a little bit about her. I mean, she has a very ominous look to her. Is she a sorceress as well?
She is a sorceress, but her magic works.
Ooh.
And she has a complex relationship with Morgana, which is another thing I like to explore, is because often you do not see relationships between two women who are unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
Often you'll see stories about mother daughter, aunt something, grandmother, niece, whatever. But these two women are completely unrelated, but have a bond.
I got you. So tell us a little bit about the design of this character. Are these tattoos like what normally goes with the design, or was this something that you added?
She is picked, and that's spelled Pict. They are a people who used to live in northern Scotland and were eventually absorbed by the Scottish kingdom. They did have, it was commonplace for them to have blue tattoos
Mm-hmm.
on face and body. There is a common misconception that Pict warriors painted themselves completely blue and fought naked. And which is really funny because you'll see that in a ton of King Arthur stories, is that the invaders, the barbarians, are all painted blue and they're naked. Okay, great. It turns out, if you do a little bit more of a deep dive, that there was a Roman writer who basically started this rumor. And it was because he was trying to disparage these people that were kicking Roman ass in Britain. So yeah, I mean, eventually Rome sort of won out. They had trouble taking over parts of Britain with the Picts because the Picts had no central location.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a central city, and Rome didn't know what to do with that, and they couldn't, occupy. They couldn't send enough occupiers to keep the peace. So eventually, they had to leave. So yeah, someone just made that up. And if you dig deeper, there are commentaries of Pict noblemen and warriors who are really snazzy dressers and had beautiful, beautiful jewelry. They didn't leave us any written records, unfortunately, other than the there's carving stones
Mm-hmm.
and this beautiful silver jewelry, some of which Alden, I've sent him images, and he used for Darelai and some of the other pick.
I just love how in depth this story is, and these interiors are absolutely gorgeous. It's mind boggling to hear that the interior artist, this was like his first like comic series. Like, this is insanely detailed. What did the collaboration process look like between you two?
It's always interesting when you start with a new artist. He likes to have, I always send references. That's
Mm-hmm.
reference images to my artist, but he wanted a lot. So, and I gave him a lot. Uh, so we could have it as, as accurate as possible. It's never going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Of what the tents look like I mean, this is in, actually, this is in Francia. This is outside of Avalon, and allegedly, that's what I call it, outside of Avalon. For those of you who know Arthurian legend, that will mean something to you, which is why I put it there. Uh, that's a nod to all the King Arthur fans and Morgana fans out there.
I love that, and this also goes to show you just how skilled the color is too. Because
She just
this is
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, she's having a good time too. And I told her, I said, yeah, he's going to start on, issue 3 pretty soon. She's going like, yay.
There's a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure the average comic book writer doesn't know just how much detail goes into. With the interior artist just did pencils, I'm assuming. So the colorist, added this glowing effect, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like, yeah, and it's once you kind of study the craft a little bit, you realize how much detail actually goes into this.
yeah. No, it's
Gorgeous.
it's it's Warren is pretty amazing. And she's done work for Titan Comics and a bunch of other, and in fact, she just finished a short for me for Boston Metaphysical.
So, real quick, what is happening in these few pages? Can you give us a
Oh,
little bit of a breakdown without?
these are the first 2 pages of issue 1, first 2 or 3 pages, and here we see Morgana. She is been hired to win a war for this Frankish nobleman, and so basically, she's telling him to get the hell out of her way and let her do her job, which she does. And here we meet a couple of her team, Getty and Ursmar, and Flair's in the back.
I was gonna say these are very gorgeous colors too. Do they
Yeah,
have any special symbolism?
those actually have a purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, those are signal flares, which actually you could make. I have somewhere buried in my notes the chemical composition of each of those.
So what's this in particular signaling?
Oh, that they're ready to move.
I gotcha.
That
That's cool. I love how you guys have your own, like, is this like what it actually universally means or what it just means in the series?
in the series I made
I
it up.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's still cool that you made that up for the series. I mean, you put so much thought and effort into this, and yeah, this is gorgeous. I love when villages look just like this. Like, this is such an awesome look for the houses and the barns.
Yeah, well, I remember sending Alden images of this, of what this should be looking like for the time period, and here they're back in Britain in issue 2.
Yeah, these are absolutely gorgeous. And we have a look at some of the characters as well. So we talked about Morgana. Let's talk about some of the other characters. So we have, who do we have right here?
That's Mordred, her son, who has been raised by the Sir Godric and the Soldiers of God.
And then
And
we have some.
Darelai, and then this is her team, Getty, who was a West African guard until things went sideways.
You do have a lot of culture in this team. I really love that. That is awesome.
And then Lena, who's essentially the business manager.
Yeah, it's a whole slew of characters. We also have a look at the variant cover too. This is gorgeous. I love how stunning this is.
Yeah, Claudia Annunziello did that cover, and I love her work. I love Rio's too. I use Rio a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second cover I've had from Claudia. I know I'm going to do more.
Yeah, I do the roots and plants like in the front and just how everything looks like almost angelic in the background. It's such a contrasting feeling and I love it. Yeah, that is awesome. So a look at the rewards too. We have just the basic digital for $6. Digital issues of 1 and 2 hot off the press at 10. We have, is the early bird still available?
No, I actually have to, thank you for reminding me of that. I have to take that out.
So we have
Yeah,
issue
the early
2.
birds, unfortunately, the early birds are over. Those are gone.
Hey, and that's why you should be notified for the next pre-launch to get hot on the early bird specials and save yourself a couple bucks. But you can get a physical copy of issue 2 at $16. You can get that variant cover at $22. Issues 1 and 2 physical copies at $22. Just a whole bunch of awesome rewards here. We have the limited metal Burton cover as well at $55. And then the Get to Know Us starter kit. So tell us a little bit about this.
That's with people who are brand new to me, never heard of anything about anything I've ever done, and like to get to know us. So this gives you issues 1 and 2 of Morgana and the basics for Boston Metaphysical. So you get the special edition volume 1 and the novel. So that gives you the foundation for Boston Metaphysical. So you get a little bit of both.
Some awesome rewards. The premium digital package at 76 includes all of Boston Metaphysical Society comics, prose, and 8-episode audio drama, The Ghost Ship. The Ghost Ship is such an awesome thing too. For anyone that is new listening to this, can you tell us a little bit about that?
The Ghost Ship is a full cast special effects audio drama that's like your old-fashioned radio play. It's 4 hours long plus commentary, and the story takes place roughly during volume 1. So we just have the team of Samuel, Caitlin, and Granville. We did that during COVID and had a fantastic group of voice actors involved. Actually, there was I had 12 different actors voicing it, and a outstanding production team, Chip Michael and Eddie Louise, his wife, who just couldn't have done it without him. They were amazing.
And last but not least, we have the ultimate package of steampunk goodness at 260. And just a whole slew of awesome goodies here, and those coins too. Are these back from the vault, or are these like new?
Those are actually lapel pins.
Oh, lapel pins, sorry.
Yeah, and those include some of our old ones and our new one, a crossbow. So it does include our latest lapel pin.
That is so cool. So for anyone who might be on the fence about backing this series, what would you like to say to them to help push them over that hump?
Oh, my. Well, if you love King Arthur stories, magic, mayhem, and swords, then this is it for you.
And I mean, the interiors are absolutely gorgeous, and I love the. I just love the take on everything. You've been on the show before, you know the drill. We always love ending with a piece of advice, as well as what you're up to outside of creating. So for the creator out there looking to create a new series, they already have one established, they're looking to dive off into something brand new, what would be your biggest piece of advice to help them get a good start, get on the right foot with creating something brand new?
Wow, that's I internalize so much stuff that I never really think about it anymore. But I would say make sure your current audience is aware that you're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and keep them updated when it's coming, and always be transparent. And try to get your first issue, try to get your issues done before you launch on Kickstarter. It just makes life easier.
And you already have the book done. There's no fear of not having that book delivered. And
actually at the printer right now, everything's been approved. You're just waiting to go.
Hit that button.
And yeah.
So that is awesome. So congratulations on the success with this campaign. Last but not least, what are you up to outside of creating? What books are you reading? If you watch TV shows or movies, what have you been watching?
Believe it or not, we just finished The Mandalorian.
Okay.
I know it's old. That was fun, but we're watching Duncan. Oh, I call it Duncan Egg. It's the Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Because we actually listened to the audiobook many years ago and really enjoyed that of Duncan Egg. Is what I think George R.R. Martin originally called the first novella in the series. That's been great. Of course, the Pit is great. What did I just finish? Oh, I just finished a book from Deborah Ross in the Darkover series called Arlen, and I think it's the very last book in the Darkover series because the estate is no longer going to have anybody write any more Darkover stories, which is unfortunate. And I also do audiobooks when I'm at the gym. So there I'm listening to Once and Future Witches by Alex Harrow.
No, I gotcha. And there's something about starting a TV series after everyone else has consumed it, I feel. I just started Stranger Things with my significant other, and, not only are we able to binge it, like, as
Yeah,
many
it's fun.
episodes as we want, but I feel like you appreciate a series differently when it's just like you watching it maybe a few years afterwards, and there's not all the hype out there kind of like, you know, making you lean towards one way or another. It's not like influencing your opinion. You actually get to like form your own like take on it.
Yeah, I mean, we had started The Mandalorian a while ago and stopped at episode 3 because, quite frankly, we thought it was so stupid we couldn't keep up anymore. But then we said, well, the new movie's coming out. People said it's really good. Let's just give it a try again. And then we did, and it really improved. So we stuck with it, and we're overall pretty happy with it. It's geared more towards kids,
Yeah.
and we're more people who like Andor.
Mm-hmm. No,
Andor was amazing, and
that's
that's
another good one I need to dive back into.
yeah. And then I just heard, and I hope it's true because you never know anymore if these things are true. That they're going to do a movie focusing on Cassian in between the end of Andor and before Rogue One.
Oh, that's cool.
Which
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
totally in. Yeah,
No,
totally.
any more of that expanded universe that we can dive into, we should do it.
Well, the writing, the characters, acting is superlative,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also a show for grown-ups. It's one of the few, what I feel, Star Wars shows that are for grown-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to disparage everything else, because obviously people really love it, and that's great, and you should enjoy your fandom. But yeah, it's just a personal choice.
No, absolutely. So everyone watching, there is the link to check this out. And if you're watching at a later time, check out the description and back when you can. This has been an awesome chat. Thank you so much for swinging by and coming back and catching up with us.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
absolutely. And everyone watching, I hope you all have a lovely Sunday. But most importantly, keep it geekly. All right, give me 1 second. I'm just going to end the stream.